Hello, testing, testing. I'll just keep talking, just testing things out. How's it going? What's going on? It seems to be working. We'll see. I move a lot, so it's 100% likely my fault. All right, so okay, we're gonna go with this one. Let's see how it goes. It could work out. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna put it in presentation mode. Ready, break. We're gonna try sound. You ready? I can't see it up here. Am I supposed to see it up here? Can you guys see something that looks like my face? Oh, all right, great. Then I don't need to see it up here. Play it. We'll see. If my sound is terrible, we'll just run me a handheld and I'll switch it out. Okay, no voice, but I'm just gonna talk to you about what this is for a second. So this is a deep fake. I always like to, so I talk, okay, I'm just gonna do the handheld real quick, sorry. Oh, there's one up here. If you. Testing. What? All right, cool. This is better. So I always like to start with deepfake. It's not my 5 minutes. Sorry. Please stay. Okay. Hello. Did I do? I didn't do anything. No, it wasn't. Miss, it was not left on. Yeah, it's like work husbands. Hello. No, I don't think that's on. I think, right? Hello. If you're in a panel, just turn your mic off. Like when you're done, just turn it off. I'm just kidding. All right, let's try this again. That's a little triggering. I'm like sweating a little bit up here. All right, awesome. So nice to meet you all. I always start with a deep fake. You couldn't hear it, but what I like about it, I get to speak on stages all over the world. And I typically talk to people who are not in the world of AI and in technology, though many of you probably are closer to tech than my typical audience. But the reason I start with a deepfake, number one, is because most people can't tell that it's deepfake. And number two, because of how I created it. This is done with HeyGen. Any familiar HeyGen people out there? Yeah, a few of you have used it. It took 2 minutes of me recording a typical conversation into a smartphone, uploading it, and about 7 minutes later, it not only did this, which is pretty good when you look at it, but it also deepfaked my voice. And I speak to healthcare and, well, lots of regulated industries, government, financial services. And so my whole hope is that they are instantly excited and terrified all at the same time. And it usually works. Like they're like, wait. So anyone? Oh yeah, and in case you didn't know, anyone, all of you, by the end of today, could have your own deep fake you. This is nearly Noel. And you could have your own nearly whoever you are by the end of today, and you could do it for free. So now you can synthesize your own voice, your own face, generate. Oh, by the way, you didn't hear the amazing things that it said, but I didn't write that either. ChatGPT wrote the script. So you can have a bot that looks like you, sounds like you, but didn't say anything you've ever said or would ever say ever. Yay! Like, isn't that awesome? So I'm so excited about the world that we are in because technology is more accessible than ever. By the way, and I need to know zero code. I don't need to know how to spell AI. I can use this technology. And some executives will even confess to me that they can't spell AI, or that they, many times, they'll be like, oh yeah, Allen Iverson. Oh, I'm like, yeah, Allen Iverson, yeah. So it depends on the city that I'm in. But what we're gonna talk about today really is what I've learned, well, throughout my entire career. I hope this, oh my gosh, this doesn't have a picture of my family in it. I might have to escape and find one. Let's see if we have one. I'm just gonna see. seat. Oh, I don't have one up. Okay, that's okay. Well, I have a bunch of people in my family. I have 6 kiddos. My husband, my high school sweetheart, hi honey, is in the back here supporting me. And I'm going to first give you just a few minutes. If you choose to accept the challenge, you can become my friend. And so hopefully, there we go. So this is my LinkedIn code, but you also may have gotten a card that says AI Leadership Institute. This is the company that I actually started quite a while ago, but I usually like to share with you because many of you I don't recognize. Some of you I do, so thanks for coming. But many of you I don't. And my journey into technology started actually, well, it started a long time ago. Nobody has to say the year, but I was introduced to the idea that technology and ultimately artificial intelligence could change the world. And it was, I have 6 kids, but my very first pregnancy was fine. I love being pregnant, maybe obviously, because I have 6 of them, but I enjoyed the process. He went full term. Actually, it was a week late. I couldn't wait to get the party started. I'm like, let's go. Anyone who's been through that experience, I'm sure, okay, by your faces, maybe you didn't have the same experience, but I was excited about the opportunity to have a new baby. And my baby's born, he spends 2 days with me, and all of a sudden he's whisked off to the intensive care unit, and a doctor comes in and tells me that he has a condition known as Down syndrome. And I'm a new mom, and I had no idea what that even meant. But I did know it was bad because his face told me that. And he must have noticed that I looked concerned because he said, don't worry, you don't have to start your mom journey this way. There are institutions right now who can take your baby and take care of your baby, to handle all the health concerns that will come up. You can actually just go home. And he also must have noticed another look on my face because he was like, or you could give it to a family. There are also families, and there are families to this day that wait in the wings, willing and able to take babies that are highly intensive for the parent that might have them. And sometimes parents, I get it, are not ready to take on something like this, but I'm a Latina. So number one, first and foremost, if I didn't go home with that baby, my abuela would have taken a shoe and hit me with it. If I decided to I'm just gonna give that baby away. She had been planning for this. And number two, I'm a technologist. I got into the world of tech the first time the world was gonna end. Y2K, if you remember. Some of us were around back then. We did save the world, by the way. You're welcome. We're all here because we did a good job that night. That's what I tell myself. But this journey, so now I know based on Y2K, I'm like, this tech can do some stuff. I'm pretty impressed with it. I now have a son who has needs that I never anticipated, so I have to figure things out. Well, fast forward, I end up at AWS, climbing the ladder. You can use the LinkedIn code that you now have to look at my career. I handcrafted my career to work on teams and with companies that were pushing the edge of what technology could do to increase the accessibility for everybody, not just my son, but really for everyone. And I got there, which was awesome. I ended up being part of a solution. I was at IBM, I went to VMware, I ended up at Amazon Web Services. I was a principal cloud architect, very passionate about cloud and the capability that it offered. But then I get an email from Jeff Bezos, right? You know him? Yeah. He's pretty buff these days. So I get an email from Jeff Bezos, and he's like, hey, we're going to start a brand new project. I didn't find out till later it wasn't actually from him. It was actually from his team, but I felt like it was from him. And I felt like he was speaking directly to me when he said, we're going to build the Star Trek computer. And anyone can play. If you are interested, excited, passionate, persistent, and consistent in the way that you deliver projects, you are welcome on this team. So I was like, let's go. So I jumped at the opportunity. However, I had to talk to my manager first. And my manager looked at me very kindly with sweet, sweet eyes and said, no, you're not really smart enough to do that. You're not technical enough. And he didn't know. Here's the funny thing. When people hire you, very rarely do your hiring managers actually go look at the stuff you've ever done before. I did not know that until much later. But he didn't know that I had built an entire framework of technology at IBM. He had no idea that I worked at VMware and built a virtualization engine. He had no idea. So he was like, you're a training manager. What do you know about AI? The one thing he did get right is I knew nothing about AI. But that didn't matter because I knew my son. My son was 9 years old, and I was like, and he was struggling to speak. And I was like, whoa, wait, I can build a computer that you can talk to? I'm all over this. So I bypassed my manager. We're not friends anymore. It's kind of sad. Maybe we were never friends. But I bypassed my manager, joined the Alexa team, and my whole world changed. The one thing that made me successful at what I do is I learned by doing. I put my fingers on my keyboard and I just started building. In the first year, I built over 100 applications for Alexa. I owned 10% of all application logic built for Alexa that year. It lasted like 2 minutes and 45 seconds, and then someone else built 11%, but it lasted long enough to get a t-shirt, and I love it. Some of you have some of these t-shirts that we built at Alexa back then. So I learned very quickly that this technology, artificial intelligence, natural language, I built 4 different language models at Amazon Alexa the hard way, the old-fashioned way, through annotation and lots of human work. And then I decided, well, what should I do next? I was there 4 years, and Microsoft came to me and said, hey, wouldn't you like to help us? At this point, Alexa became a household name. It's very rare. I never even thought, what's up, family? Come on in. I never thought I'd be able to be part of a product that would become a household name. It doesn't matter that you've now taken Alexa and stuck it in a corner and unplugged it. Like, it's fine. I forgive you. But you could plug it back in because your phone will kill you. I'm just kidding. But yeah, this is way worse than an Alexa device. So plug that puppy back in. It's about to get very cool in about 8 days. Did I say that? Oh, I didn't say that. I don't work there anymore. I don't know any secrets. So Alexa it was a really fun project, but Microsoft was like, hey, you just did this cool thing at Alexa. We'd like you to come over and help us productize AI and democratize it for the world in a new product. They hadn't launched it yet, called Cognitive Services. So I jumped from bleeding orange over to what I considered up until that point the dark side. This was in the early days of Satya Nadella's reign, and I didn't know. Like, I was still bruised by the Steve Ballmer moments before the Clippers. So anyway, it was rough. I was like, I don't know. I hope I'm not helping the devil. But it worked out because I got there, and they really wanted to help the world use technology that was locked up in academia, locked up even in Microsoft research. So I productized 17 research models, what I've come to affectionately call baby tigers. These were tiny little models, lots of them. They were getting about 100 inferences a month, which is less email than you get. Like, nobody was calling them. Basically, we were calling it ourselves, maybe our mom and our dad, like very, very infrequent usage. But we were building computer vision, natural language, speech recognition, all these models that today, just to give you context, get about 5 to 7 billion inferences per month. And I always remind people, like, baby tiger mode, like in the beginning, no one except a few of us, no one was asking like, hey, baby tiger, hey, computer vision model that 100 people are calling right now, how big are you going to be? Who's going to be calling you and coming around? Who's going to, like I always say, razor sharp teeth at birth. What will you be eating? Where will you live? What happens if I don't want you anymore? No one asks these questions in baby tiger mode. Like, in the beginning of every AI project, everyone's like, wee, this is fantastic. I'm looking at a bunch of fantastic baby tigers, even in the hallway. Like, it's so exciting. And I'm the one who goes up to the poor marketing person stuck manning the booth. And I'm like, so tell me about the model selection process you used. Or, I don't know, governance, risk. What does it eat? Where's it going to live? And they're like, I don't know. Here's my card. And I take it and walk away. But it's really important that someone, especially now, and really all of you, become the person in the room that asks the question. And the most important question you can ask, maybe there's two. One, what's the worst thing that can happen with this? You might get called names like Debbie Downer or Negative Nelly or my favorite, Buzzkill. Because you walk into a room and everyone's super excited and you're like, by the way, could that kill someone? And they're like, well, who invited you to the party? But the good news is that people who ask this question, you end up shifting the trajectory of the model in such a positive way that you save people's lives, that you save people's financial independence. Like, there's so many good things that happen, but it does take courageous leaders to be willing to ask those tough questions. I've worked for some amazing leaders. One of them was Scott Guthrie at Microsoft, and he was the one responsible for productizing all these models. And I remember we had a model that was just dangerously misbehaving. And it was on a trajectory where we could have probably fixed it before it hit production, but it wasn't going well. And so we, as a team, like arm in arm, were like, we close our eyes and we're like, we'd like to say something. And he's like, go on. And we're like, we might be building something that could hurt people. And we think it's a good idea if we just don't deploy it. Now, the choice of us not deploying would have cost us about $500 million in revenue, but the opportunity cost was billions of dollars, $3 to $5 billion. So you have to pray that you have a leader who doesn't care about money. And thankfully, it's not that he doesn't care about money, but he was a long-term thinker. He's been in that role a long time. So he said, well, here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to figure out how to do this right. I'd like you to stop whatever you're doing now to make it right, because we are going to go fast. This was in 2018. That model, had we not undone it and redone it, would be getting 5 to 7 billion requests, and about 25% of those requests would have been biased and hurting people. And that doesn't happen today. There's still a little bit of bias because every model is biased. Tell your friends. Every model is biased, but we knew it. Like if you know, if you see something, you say something. But he was a leader that said, I'd rather you have clarity than velocity. And that is a principle, we, especially in baby tiger mode, we all need to embrace. To identify the clarity of what our model will do and how it will do it, what data it will need, and how we'll give credit to the people we get data from, all the way to how will we measure success at the end. So fast forward, I, of course, become a huge proponent of responsible AI because I watched us. Literally, the only reason we didn't deploy that model was because we happened to have a leader that said, yeah, you're right, don't. What if he said yes? We would have deployed it. Like it was literally in the hands of this single person. And I was like, this is not good. We need more leaders in the room that would say, maybe we should think about that. And I've been in rooms with executives that cared more about money and their job than they did about responsible use. So I ended up at Accenture about 2 years ago. And I'm an MVP. Thank you, James, for mentioning. I'm a Microsoft MVP, which means I get treated better now than I ever did as an employee. So if you want to work for Microsoft, I'd encourage you to go the MVP route. But I got access to some early models, and one of them was a brand new model coming out of a brand new company that Microsoft had partnered with called OpenAI. It was during COVID. I got a chance to work on a product called Codex, and that Codex became one of the heads today that one of the model heads that you would see inside of ChatGPT 4.0 and the mini models. But at the time, I was like, this seems cool. It was an email. Do you want to work on this? I was like, that seems cool. I'll go work on it. I didn't really like it at first, but that's another story. But I worked on it. Now, fast forward, GPT launches. And I'm like, oh, I've been working on that model. That's pretty cool. I end up at a consulting firm, and I'm like, we should sell this. We should go and tell customers this exists. And once again, like my Amazon manager, my leader was like, no, nobody buys generative AI. It's not a thing you can sell. You can't really build it. We all know that didn't turn out that way. But at the time, he was like, you can't do that. Nobody's buying generative AI. And I was like, well, just like at Amazon, can I just build it and see what happens? So I built a team, volunteer. I asked them to come meet me at 6 o'clock in the morning and learn what I had learned at Microsoft, taught them Codex and 3 other models. And I said, this is going to be the future. This was in January of 2022. By September and October of 2023, we had built 47 projects, and I'll share with you a little bit about the use cases we built for. But we raised $300 million in revenue. And then guess what that nice person said who told me not to do it? They were like, oh, I'm so glad you did what I suggested. Well done. Good listening. And I was like, of course. And now I work for myself. So now I have my own company. Not necessarily exactly the way that it went, but it led me to realize that, of course, there's value. But the number one way we sold those projects was we identified a problem. Problem determination is the number one reason projects fails. We don't do enough of that. And then we identified a very clear metric of success. What happens when you do this at scale is that you realize that there is a pattern in successful projects. And as a matter of fact, let me see if I can pull this up. Where's my mouse? Oh, there it is. I found it. There is a study that came out recently. Oh, maybe I should click again. There we go. A study that came out recently from the IDC. And this IDC report was partnered with Microsoft, so I was involved. There was 174 projects that were analyzed. This was to validate, can you actually make money? Now, I had been saying you can for over a year at this point, but it's better when you have data. So they collected a bunch of data from projects, metrics that were used to measure success. And what they found was that for every dollar you put into a responsibly built AI system, you can get $3 back. Not for every use case, for about 16 buckets. And I'll share those with you in just a second. But what was more interesting is that you now at the end, if you put $1 in to certain use cases, 4 different buckets of use cases, you could get $8 back. You give me $1 and I'll give you $8. You give me $1 million, I give you $8 million. You can imagine that people were like, well, this is a good deal. I should keep doing this. It was a great deal. And the reason why it was great is because we'd go into companies, we'd identify a use case that could give us a 8 to 1 return. We'd implement it and then say, look, just give us half that money, house money, to build the next use case. And we started playing with house money. So it became a self-funding AI practice within these clients. And they couldn't buy enough. We would generate money by saving hours, and they would buy more. So it was easy to get. A lot of people ask me, like, how'd you get to 300 million? I'm like, well, it's easy when you know the cheat codes. So let me share those with you really quick. So these are the 1 to 3. It won't surprise you. So we have use cases in all of these boxes. These are easy money makers because we already have AI in these industries. This is across industry, 19 different industries represented in our study. So very significant data. Now, I know you're taking a picture of this one, but the next one's kind of the money slide because that's like, where do you get the 1 to 8 return? So I'll show it to you. And it won't surprise you, I don't think. It didn't surprise me because I had been saying it and doing it, and lots of us have been working in this space a long time, and we knew that there's a lot of money here. But now it's quantifiable, and specifically, what I like, if you remember that slide that shows the IDC study, and you can go find it on the internet, the IDC study also says, and this is what's different, that I get that return in 3 to 6 months. We've been able to get for every dollar, $8, $12, $15. That's not a new metric. It just took us years to get there. Now we can do it in 3 to 6 months, and we can show positive trajectory in 6 weeks. There's a method to the madness, how you do it, how you approach the problem. And I will share with you a couple of those ideas in my last couple minutes with you. But first, I want to just see if we're family before I share with you all my secrets. So we have more power than ever, you would agree, right? I now can do what took me 4 to 5 years in one company, I can now do in 3 months. I can get executives to say yes easier because here's one of the things that I do that I encourage you all to do. Be a doer, not a talker. Show versus tell. With generative AI, you can be in a conversation listening to your customer, and you can generate, and this customer might be your customer. Of course, I'm a consultant, so it might be your customer. It might be your CEO, your CFO. It might be your boss. But while you're listening to them complain about the thing that they would like you to build, you can actually build it while talking to them in a chat GPT model, preferably one inside your firewall. And then you show them the answer at the end of the conversation. I know, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I appreciate that. How about something like this? And I can show complete application architectures from a conversation that I had in less than an hour. It's not easy to do if you've never done it before. But once you do it once, it gets easier and easier. And in today's world, you can't just say a thing. You all have heard the hype. Like everyone says they're an AI expert. At Accenture, I started the team. We had 40 people. I knighted them. You are prompt engineers. You are experts. By the end of the month, there were 700 people who had tagged themselves as experts in generative AI. And I didn't know any of them. And I was like, is that what we do? And now I realize that's kind of what we do. We just tag ourselves with whatever thing we think is good that somebody will come and ask us about. And so I'm going to encourage you, the way to differentiate yourself with, which I believe if you're at this event, I mean, I know Pete very well. If you're at this event, you have the skills, or at least you're ambitious enough to get the skills. So be someone who demonstrates live right in front of a customer. Be a doer, not a talker, a shower, not a teller. It has really critically changed my client conversations with any one of my stakeholders. But we have lots of power to do exactly what I'm describing. However, do you know this one? We'll say it together. With great power comes. Oh my gosh, it's the best one ever. Did you get that, honey? That was the best ever. So yeah, of course, you all are my people. There's great responsibility in this, which means we have to ask baby tiger questions. We're going to be able to go. We're going to be able to show versus tell. We're going to do instead of talk. We're going to show a demo. They're going to say yes. And then you're going to responsibly build that application. It's very easy today to sell an AI solution to someone. It's very hard to have operational excellence to deliver it well. I say now I deliver $10 million projects, $500K at a time. And that means that I have to have operational excellence to show trajectory of value in the tiniest increments possible. So that is why I came with you today. I do want to finally share that it's not out. Like I pre-launched it, which is the thing for a Noelle who doesn't write books. Like we pre-launched it, which means my first round of editing is done. Cha-ching. And I Googled it and it's in Target. So I made it. I've made it, you all. I've made it. But this book, of course, mirrors what I just talked about. It's the only way I'd write a book is if they let me just write my keynote. But what I'm going to encourage you to do is to join me, and lots of people in this room are part of my I Love AI community. We basically become doers together. If you've never put your fingers on a keyboard and built a bot, now's your chance. We did a bot building workshop yesterday. Anyone in here was in that? Well, look at all these people. Thank you for coming. I did pay them maybe to come, but thank you for coming. I'm so appreciative. But we built bots yesterday, and we had lots of challenges, but welcome to the world. Like we had so many challenges. It's not unlike any other bot building experience I've ever had, but we ended up doing it. We ended up building a metric for success. We ended up successfully deploying bots on small business companies. It was very cool. We do it once a month. We'd love to have you. It's very easy to get to noelle.ai, Noelle.ai. So I hope I'll be friends with all of you. My LinkedIn is actually on that card. So if you just want to scan it and become friends, don't follow. I mean, of course, follow if you want to, but connecting is better because one day you're going to be like, Noelle knows this person. I wish she could introduce me. And I'm telling you right now, I will 100% introduce you. If I have a relationship that will benefit you, I will do whatever I can to help you have a nice, warm introduction to that person. So thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you around the event. Oh yeah, come on up, Jane. Come on. I got to do it by myself. There's more people now. Come on. You took the early one. Now it's good. Okay. I told you to be in the white tips. All right, I'm going to try. All right, so we're going to go this way. Are you ready? Oh, wait. Oh, no, that's good. Okay, are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Like you liked being here. Yay! Thanks, everybody. Bye. Good luck and well, everyone. Oh, I need my tiger. Yes, thank you. Oh, yeah, and I'm going to be going to the Independence room. Oh, yeah. One of you has a card that has a free membership on it. Look on the card. It's got a sticker and it says free membership to the AI Leadership Institute. That means it's like a $1,400 thing. So if you have it, come see me. I'll be networking upstairs in the Independence room. I'll see you there. If you see it, come see me. Bingo! Bingo!
Well done.
All right. Bye. I know, and he built a bot. Karma.